Hello, my name is Vincent Lau, and I have known John since elementary school, almost 30 years ago. He was one of my best friends. John was kind and did not have a mean bone in his body. He was a gentle and caring friend who prioritized listening over speaking. He was warm and authentic and always put those around him at ease. He was like one of the vintage cars he used to drive. Classic, unassuming, and full of character. I have so many great memories of John. I remember growing up as immigrant kids. We would play basketball and he would be Doug Love and blow by me with the perfect layup. We would roar down number 4 road in our parents' old rickety cars with our newly minted driver licenses. I would copy his math homework, a foreshadowing perhaps of his intellect and successful career as an engineer. I remember our 20s, the numerous Vegas trips, other epic trips, concerts, sporting events, and all the parties. I remember entering fatherhood together. We would swap stories about diapers and sleep training techniques. We would attend our kids' birthday parties. John was a devoted husband and father who loved his family. But above all else, my fondest memory of John is how he was always there when I needed a friend. When I went through rough patches, he was there to listen and to comfort. When I was feeling lonely in New York, he was there to brighten my spirit. When I first moved out, he built my couch. When I had successes, he was there to celebrate. Always his gracious self. A decade and a half ago, a few of us moved abroad. We joked about not needing to worry, as John would hold down the fort in Vancouver until we all returned. John, you have physically left us now, but your sincere and kind soul will forever remain in our hearts. We will now hold down the fort for you until we all meet together again. We have a big hole in our hearts. We miss you and we love you immensely. May you rest in peace, my dear friend.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Mark. I'm incredibly humbled to be able to speak to you today and to pay my respects to a great man who also happens to be a wonderful son and brother, a loving husband and father, a role model to friends and coworkers, and most importantly to me, my best friend. Of course, I wish I could be making this statement under much better circumstances, but here we are. Just like many of us who have gathered here today in person and virtually, John has had a monumental impact on my life. Just how he did it, I often wondered. It's really hard to draw back on memories that goes beyond 30 years. That's when I met him in grade 3, and of course Jake at the same time. John and I grew up together pretty much, living in the same neighborhood, having gone to the same schools, from elementary school, high school, all the way to university. We're never in the same classes, but we spent a heck of a lot of time together, during school and after school. Having had this proximity with John allowed me to know him literally inside and out. We shared secrets, of course, about silly things and serious things as well. I've been an observer of John literally for the past 32 years. And what I can say is that, that John has never been the most outspoken type. He's calm and collected, and his coolness really puts people at ease. Of course, John is also quite quirky at times. He's always opting for the weirdest paths that he can take. Some of the examples I can remember is that he never walked in a straight line when you're walking with him. He tended to walk towards you, so you had to counter walk against him. Remember, he's a big fan of badminton and used the weirdest badminton rackets that you can find. Never the Yonexes, never the big brands. He insisted on driving, a right-handed car for years, to the displeasure of Sko. This obscurity of him meant that he was never afraid of being judged. And at the same time, he never judged others. That's such a huge virtue. John also was cheeky and quite cocky at times. Guy called himself Zoomworm. Who the heck names themselves after an insect? But that was John. Super confident guy. Quietly confident. And that had a massive impact on those around him. If I was to use one word to describe John, I would use the word constant. Not like he's he's constantly nagging or not constantly annoying, but really a constant in the sense of the noun. He was the common denominator for many of the social groups. He brought people together. He never changed. He was consistent. He was always true to his words. He is that one parameter that does not change, despite the fact that there are many variables that surrounded him. These qualities meant that not only was John able to befriend many, but he was able to build upon and retain very successful friendships with many around the world. As we all age, we tend to make fewer and fewer friends, and instead hang on to those who we have met early in life, especially the good ones like John. This is why it's so hard to say goodbye. Maybe instead of saying goodbye, we should all be reminded of the story that Sko has been telling JJ in preparation of his daddy's passing, called The Invisible String. The book's primary premise is that everyone is connected via an invisible string, which can reach anyone at any time, even if they're not in the same place, such as John in heaven. If you ever miss John, perhaps you can give that invisible string a tug. Remind yourself of the good times that you've spent with him. And just perhaps, you might find him, giving you a bit of his wisdom and his wordiness and mouthiness through that memory that you draw on. I know I will for sure, and I look forward to the day when I get to meet John again. With this, just some final words to my dear friend. Sorry that I couldn't be there with you, but I love you, and you have and will always be in my heart. Rest in peace, my brother.
I've known John since high school. He has always been somebody I look up to. He was pretty much the smartest in every class. He was great at basketball. He was great at, all the other sports. He had a lot of friends. He was very popular. He pretty much excelled in everything. I look up to him. And we've had a lot of fun together, playing basketball, drink and stuff like that. We had a lot of good fun. A couple of years back, John and Skoll visited me in Taiwan. I was living there at the time. We went to the night market, had a lot of great food. We went to a nice local restaurant in Taipei. We had a lot of great dishes. We had a lot of good fun, a lot of great conversation, and we drank every type of beer available in the restaurant. And I remember lining up all these empty beer bottles and took some great photos of it. it was a great night. It was a great night, and it is something that I will never forget. I still remember that to this day. What I didn't tell John, though, was that the same night, I actually missed my train stop on my way home. So I actually had to, circle back and, I took the train back to my station where I was supposed to get off. And obviously my wife was not very happy about that, and because she had to wait, and obviously I wasn't even walking straight, but it was one of those moments that I would never forget. That night, it was awesome. It was awesome. It breaks my heart to have to say goodbye to John, but it does bring me comfort knowing that John and I will meet again sometime, somewhere, someday. Until then, dear John, take care. I'll see you again.
Hi everyone, my name is Danny. I have known John since high school. It has been a very difficult loss for all of us. John is definitely one of the kindest people I've known in my life. When I first came to Canada, I barely spoke any English. He helped me a lot during high school time to adjust life in Canada, kind of hang out with me, and we remained close all through the UBC years. Well, even though he went to do engineering, I did economics. But I always went to an engineering building for their cheap beer, and we hang out. One thing I really remember about John was a very interesting scenario. During my wedding time, he actually asked me and my wife to do a 1-minute kiss, so he had a chance to do a 360-degree filming. Consider it was 13-14 years ago. Technology doesn't really ready for this 360-degree thing, so he actually walked around us multiple times when we were like kissing. I think it's fun. The only setback for the whole wedding was that in the after party, someone called John was too drunk to come into my house and have some fun. But I'm sure that we will make something up when we see each other again in the future. Other than that, there are a couple crazy drinking stories. As most of you know, when John drinks, there will be interesting things happen. And one of my second thing I really want to share is about his 9% body fat story. I know a lot of you probably have heard about it. It's a time when we were just randomly drinking, and he decided, for some reason, we brought up a topic about body fat ratio, and he insisted that he was 9%, which typically would look like people like male model with like 8-pack and a pretty big chest, I guess. Apparently, my friend, actually we were pretty drunk at the time, my friend had a scale, and surprisingly, John was not 9%. And he got all mad. He became very aggressive, and it was weird that I've never seen such an aggressive John. And again, booze bring out the different part of people. But otherwise, John has been one of the greatest people ever in my life. He helped me a lot. I won't say I have done a lot in my life, but coming through here, he helped me a lot with his advices, his kindness, and I gotta say I really miss him, and I will miss all the time we have spent together and hang out together. I'm sure I'll see you again in the future, and I understand that you said you will get ready a place in the heaven for us, so I look forward to that day. But before then, you will be missed. You will never be forgotten, and you are always living in my memory. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael Chubb. I met John in grade 7 when we were put in the same homeroom at Canby Junior High almost 30 years ago. We became friends right away. When you're a kid, friendships are all about who you have the most fun hanging out with, and we certainly had a lot of great moments. But as we grew up and became young adults, friendships began to mean so much more than that. As we graduated from high school and started UBC together, John played a huge role in helping me figure out who I was and helping me to become the person that I am today. His unconditional support and kindness made me know that whatever life threw at me, I would be okay because John would be by my side. The memories we share are too long to list, including many great trips, but it's the small things that I'll miss the most. Grabbing a beer, an afternoon at the driving range, or an early morning breakfast with the boys. Even just hanging out. John had a way about him where he easily connected with people. Everyone who met John always liked him. He had a natural way of drawing people in and bringing them together. Many of us here today are friends because we met through John, and I'm so grateful for that. Although you're not physically here anymore, your legacy will live on in our hearts and through your two beautiful boys. You're the closest thing I've had to a brother, and no one will ever replace you. I love you, John. Rest in peace.
John, we met 20 years ago in university, and we've had a really close friendship for almost all of those 20 years. We've seen each other through a lot of stuff, and we've been through a lot together. We've traveled, we partied a lot, we graduated, we settled down. You helped me install the sound system for my first brand new car, and you saved the screw from falling down the center because you have such calm hands. Your calmness under pressure is something that I always aspire to be. You're such a gentle person. You're so kind and loving. When you had your first surgery, you recovered so quickly, and it was exciting to see you get through that. And the rest of this just happened so fast. I feel like I'm still coming to terms with you even having to go for a second surgery. I regret so much not being able to go on some of the trips with you, because those are some memories that I won't be a part of. Sometimes life just gets in the way and you don't prioritize things, and then suddenly something like this happens and everything changes. John, I love you a lot, man. I know you're gonna just, you're on to the next stage of your journey in this life of energy and whatever comes next, and you know what comes next. And when we all meet up again in the future, you'll tell us about everything that you've been up to. And you leave behind a loving family, and I wish you could have been a part of their lives for the years to come, because having a father like you, having an uncle like you, having someone like you in anybody's life is enriching, and you just genuinely bring joy to everything that you do. I remember just the first times talking to you, and you would talk so close to me, and I really kind of just enjoyed that because it was different from everybody else. You're just so comfortable being close to people, and it made me I learned that from you, like I would talk about you as my close talker friend, and how it was just kind of fun to test to see who was going to get closer to the other person before the other person moved away. And it was I think neither of us would move away. So many great memories. There's our basketball stuff in university, and the countless hours at the gym, and again, basketball at the gym, and our roller hockey championship, basketball championship, the first Vegas trip, and just, like you form 20 years of memories with someone, and you kind of expect to carry that on, like we were supposed to all grow old together, whether we were around each other a lot or not. Like, we're all supposed to get old together, and somehow you had to go. It's just, that's how life works. never question it. But that doesn't mean it's a good thing. That doesn't mean it's something that is it's not fair, to be honest, you know. I love you a lot, John, and I wish you could see. I know you can see what's going on, and I know you can feel the outpouring of love from everybody. And you touched everybody's heart and mind and soul. And I guess that makes you an angel. Came here very quickly, and now you're gone. Rest in peace, my friend.
Hi, my name is Nathan Lau, and what an honor it is to have known John for over 20 years. We shared countless memories together. I remember when life wasn't so rosy. I was laid off from work, had been through a tough breakup, and felt really lost in life. But of course, John reached out, talked, and comforted me. He was a shoulder to lean on and a great listener. We also shared many amazing memories together because he was in so many significant parts of my life. He was my wingman the night I met my wife Gai, and fast forward a few years later, I remember how nervous John, Ed, and I were when we decided to propose to our girlfriends. We even had a group chat going to decide what rings to buy to share our excitement and also not to get scammed. We got married around the same time and later had kids a few months apart. When we both entered into fatherhood, I continued to learn more about John. He was very hands-on, attentive, and patient with JJ, someone I aspire to become. I've never seen John lose his temper. For example, I remember the time we were at Disneyland in Hong Kong. It was 35 degrees and raining sporadically. We were wet and sweating so much running around with our kids in our carriers. But John was still so cool and chill about it. And of course, John had his biggest smile on his face, the signature John smile everyone is so familiar with. And this smile of John's was always found at our friends' weddings. The special bonds he forms with all his friends make him one of the most trustworthy and reliable friends. And guess what? He was the most popular groomsman I know. He was a trusted friend. More so, he was my brother. And the impact John made in all of our lives will forever be missed. May you rest in peace, my dear friend John.
Hi, my name is Edmund Lai, and I'm fortunate and blessed to be one of John's good friends. John, he isn't the loudest one in the room, nor does he crave for attention. But some way, somehow, he has this aura that people just gravitate toward him. I know him fairly early on at UBC, but it wasn't until that BC Day long weekend at Bar None that we started clicking. 2 weeks later, he invited me to his birthday party, and that's how our friendship began. One of the best part about going on a trip with John is that he'll always have my back. No matter how drunk we get, he will always make sure that we get back to a room safe. Because that's just the kind of guy John is, making sure and looking out for everyone. Aside from all the funs and parties, whenever I have to make a big decision in my life, John is always there. I remember in one of the Las Vegas trips together, we talked about settling down, building a family, raising kids. Soon after that, we started ring shopping together. We discussed how we're going to propose. We exchanged information on wedding venues. We planned our bachelor trips together. That's pretty much all we do every day at work. The past year has been a tough one for John, and I couldn't imagine how much pain he has to suffer. but every time I visited him, he always put on a smile. His perseverance, his fight, is something that I'll never forget. On that Thursday morning, when I got the message that he passed away, a piece of me died as well. My only regret is that I couldn't know him sooner. John, you'll forever be missed until we meet again.
Hey John, guess I'm lucky to have known you and have been able to share a lot together with you over the years. We have had a good run with many intersecting interests and phases in our lives. I like to say that you're always a bit of a contradictory person, but that's in a good way. You're an extroverted introvert, practical but demanding, front and center yet humble, competitive yet gracious in victory. You have always been a kind and considerate friend. I remember meeting you on the first day of UBC. My first impression of you was that you're a bit aloof and a bit cold, but as I knew you better, you were anything but. Slowly we became friends, and I saw that you have an introverted side, which I saw first where you ponder your deep thoughts and have your own perspective on things. The other side, the extroverted side, where everyone mostly sees, is that where you have many popular connections and you're involved in a broad range of interests. We joined the unaccredited integrated engineering program, and that was a bit of a leap of faith for both of us, but it brought us closer together. Remember our first ever co-op job at Comenco? That job was dirty, loud, involved crazy shift work and long hours, but together we made lemonade out of the lemons that we were given. Even when encountering obstacles, you took things in stride and diligently overcame them. Case in point, our unfortunately delayed graduation. I swear we triple-checked all the credits and courses that we needed, but somehow we still ended up 3 credits short to graduate, which delayed us by about 6 months. You didn't let that stop you, and you applied and proceeded with getting a job at GVRD while we completed the last 3 credits over the summer. I was happy when I landed at GVRD a few years later, and I looked forward to us working together professionally. But you always had dreams and further horizons in mind. You're a man of vision and knew what you wanted, where you wanted to be, and charted your way forward with meticulous planning and foresight. I used to joke that the reason you took all those extra courses and training was so that you get to put more acronyms and letters after your name on your business card. John, you're a true self-starter and one of the most focused people I know. Quietly competent, you get the job done with no fuss or drama. An extremely humble guy, you never touted your own professional accomplishments. Only now through others do I learn of your important and senior roles at TransLink. Who knows how much further you could have gone if you had more time. Even in the midst of your career, busy professional development and personal life, you made time to give back to UBC by becoming a mentor to undergraduate engineering students. You always had a noble and generous side to you. I'll never forget the days of us wrenching our cars together, dreaming about what cars to buy if we win the lottery, what new mods to get, going on early morning drives to Squamish and having breakfast there, and trading stories on cars and everything in general. I still remember that one time on our drive to Squamish, John, in his beloved 944, hit a patch of oil mid-turn and started sliding sideways. I saw this all in my rearview mirror. But he relied on his natural driving ability to save the car, turning what could have been a spin-out into an impromptu drift, all without any prior training. John, you will be deeply missed. You have been an example to me with your passion and drive for living life to the fullest. It's been said that the light that burns twice as bright burns half as long, and you have burned so very, very brightly, John. Farewell, brother, and rest in peace.
Hi, my name's Eric, and I met John in engineering 20 years ago. From school, John actually got me my first job after university, working in the same department. At that point, we worked together, carpooled together, and hung out after work together. Although it was early in our careers, John made it the most enjoyable time I had working in my life. John even helped me buy my first manual car, drove it home for me, and taught me how to drive it. He's always had a presence about him, whether he was dealing with a coworker or having fun with a friend. He was like a brother to me, and I always went to him for advice, knowing that he would have the right perspective and that we would always support each other and have each other's back. John is selfless and always thinking for others. His calmness that makes you comfortable no matter who you are. When I think about John's legacy, it gives me hope that his two young boys will grow up as men, just like their father, one of the best people I know, and to take care of Scholastica, just as John would. John, I would miss you. Will always carry you as part of me. Those that touch our lives stay in our hearts forever.
Hi everyone, my name is Greg, and I've known John since we were classmates in integrated engineering. Even though I've spent most of my adult life working and living in China, I always kept in touch with John after uni. And he's really one of the few people that I've always felt comfortable reaching out to, even regardless of how long I've been away from Canada. I guess it's because I left Canada early. I really knew him best as a classmate and as Jake's brother. When in school, he never seemed to worry about anything. He always seemed so calm when it came to exam time. Actually, the only time I remember seeing him worried in school was when he thought Jake was getting into trouble. And he would pull me aside to ask me to look out for him. You could really tell he loved his family. And as his friend, there was always something special about John that made you, just feel warm being around him. And I can only describe it as being noble of heart. It wasn't just a force that attracted people to want to connect with him, but it also made people around him respect him and love him dearly. John, growing up, I always felt that anyone you were friends with, I could also be friends with. And I don't know why that was, but probably it has something to do with how you inspire people to be noble and kind. And I wanted to be a part of that. I'm glad I did, and I got to share many good memories with you, and also together with some of your friends and family. And I will continue to cherish and share those memories with them in the years to come. I'll miss you dearly, my friend.